So today we're going to look into the creation of a new app where we are going to try a login page where we are giving a username and password and it will be verified, and if it is approved we'll go into the second activity. So that is what we are going to do right now. So we are going to start with the project. So we are starting with the Android project and we are choosing an empty activity. Now we'll click next and I will name my activity as login demo for S6 AC. So this is the name that I give for my app, and this is the language, and I'm selecting for ice cream sandwich OS and I'm finishing it. So now we have come to this point where your main activity.java has been created and your XML file has been created under this name, activity underscore main.xml, and you have main activity.java. Now, one question that I had faced yesterday was, where do we actually do the actual programming like we have learned in C++ and like we have done for Java? Where is the actual programming happening? So I will just demo it with this example. So as you look over here, you can see that this file is basically called main activity.java, and this is where the main program exists. Now if you look over here, this looks similar to what we have learned in the form of Java. You have a package definition over here, you have the import statements by default over here. So you can see that now there is an import statement and more can be added as we conduct this particular demo. So now it is importing this package as well as this bundle. So this is mentioned over here. So then as we move ahead, when we add each elements, now it can be added along with the import statement. Now if you look over here, this is the class main activity which is extended to this thing, app compact activity, which is mentioned over here, which is imported. And then you have the main function, or just like the main function, you have a non-create function that is defined over here, and this is the Java code. Now what is activity underscore main.xml? Now if you look over here, you can see two concepts over here. Now this is how we visualize our app. You have two screens over here, one is a light one and the other is a dark one. Now you have two visualizations over here. Now this is a visualization where you can see that there is a hello world text view that is placed over there, and you have a corresponding code for this. So you can see two tabs over here, one is a design and the other is a text. So when we click the design, you will see this design point of view, and when you click the text, you can see that there is this coded version available over here. Now basically what happens in this coded version is you're having the XML version over here, the encoding and the layout is being specified as constraint layout, and you have some files being used over here, the schemes and all that is given over here, the layout width which is match parent and the layout height which is match parent. This will be explained in a while. And then you have this element. So if you look over here in the design point of view, you have only one element here, that is this text view element called hello world, which contains the text hello world. Now if you look over here, this text view element contains a description about what or how that hello world exists. So it is having a layout width defined as wrap content. You have a layout height that is displayed as wrap content. You have the text which is defined as hello world. So this is hello world. So if I change hello world to hello AJC, you can see that it will automatically change in this particular design point of view. See, it has now become hello world, has now become hello AJC. So I hope you're getting the point. You are having the coded version over here and you're having the design version over here. So that is why I said at a point of time that you cannot by heart the code in Android. You may be able to do that in C++ or Java, but you cannot by heart because you need to remember all these kind of things that need to be specified. Any new elements that are being added, it will have its own layout width, layout height, text, and all these constraints that are mentioned over here. So it varies from code to code and it varies from layout to layout. So it is not possible to by heart these codes. But what you need to get is a logical idea of how these things happen. So from this program, I'm removing the text view that is specified over here. I'm removing this by clicking and removing the delete using the delete button. Now for a login page, what all things do will I require? I'll require a field to enter the name. I'll need a field to enter the password, and I'll need a button to represent the login button. And these are the three elements I require mainly for a login page. So I'm copying these things into I'm selecting from the palette. You can see various options available here: widgets, containers, Google, buttons, text. So I'm using a plain text over here. From the text, I get this option. I select this plain text, I drag it and place it over here. That element is placed. Now I need to set the now for every element that is brought into this scenario, it will contain these attributes. So if you look over here, these are the attributes. It has got an ID, so I name it as edit text name as the ID. Then I have the layout width that is defined over here. Now there are different options. Match constraint is also available. So but I'm setting it to wrap content, which I will show why. Or I'll just try doing it right now. So if I make it match constraint, first I have to set the constraint. So what I do here is to set the constraint, that is along with the layout of this whole page. What I do is I drag these points elements into all these corners. See, then I do this thing. Okay, now my element, this plain text element is now set according to this constraint layout, and I will be moving this thing to a position that I want. So moving it to this particular position, and you can see that it is placed over there. Now along with this attributes, what happens is I don't want my name to be displayed over here, because this name is should be altered with the actual content, but it should be clear that that particular field is for the name. So what I do is I select another option from here where so my point here is that I don't want this name to be given here as a visible text. I want to give it as a hint. Now you can edit all your attributes from all these things available over here. So there are a lot many options that are available, from which it is very difficult for me to find out hints. So what I give here is I type it in this search bar, and it should be giving me 1 second. I have to select the element, and then I go search for it. I get it as hint. See, it has come over here. Now that hint has been placed over here, and it is given as name, so you can see that it isn't as explicit as the text that we had earlier. So it will be giving an idea about what should be entered over there to that particular user. Similarly, I'll be entering this field for password. So what I will do is I'll drag and drop over here. So what I do is it should be set out again. The layout should be set out. I'm doing the same process. Now here I have to set it according to this name. It should be coming below that only. So that's why I'm setting the constraint like that. I drag it to the top and I place it along with this. So that will follow for the password. Again, what I need to do here, I need to type in the hint for this particular thing. Okay. So now that hint is also created. So this is name and password. And now what do I need? I need to place a button. So I drag and drop this button over here from here to here. And then I give it the, it may not be the hint. It can actually be the name of the button itself. So instead of button, I give it as login. And when I give that, that button text is now replaced with login. So you can see that I have these many elements over there. One is name, the field for entering name, field for entering password, and then this button. So these three elements have been added, and now that would make up the login page. And if you look over here, what you see here is a design aspect of this particular thing, and this is a code over here. So if you look over here, the all things are the same over here. We have all these definitions over here. Then you added an edit text where you had previously for the name, and then edit text for the password. So edit text name, what I can do here is I'll replace it. So I'll make a small change, like I change its ID, because we'll be using this ID at a later point of time. So when there are so many elements, it would be good if we can identify it with a suitable ID which will give you the idea. So edit text name, edit text password, and again you have the ID called button, and then you have the text definition over here. You have the wrap content, and you have the password options and all. The hint options that is set and all. The text is there. So I hope you got the difference between a text and a hint. So the hint won't be shown. The hint won't be shown explicitly as the text. So that is the main idea over here. So I hope you have got that idea. For each of the element that we add over here, there is a corresponding code that appears. So one is a design perspective and other is a text perspective. So you have this for edit text, for the text name, and you have this for the password, and you have this for the button. So these are the three elements that are required in this front page. A simple login app. Now if we move forward, we can make it more complex, and we can make things happen. Now whatever is the code that should happen here as part of the Java programming should be typed over here. Now this would basically deal with the XML part of the concept. What we have done is we have done the design of it, and we have set in these three elements, and the main activity or the Java programming should be done over here. Now the basic idea of this programming is when you use one feed in one name and its corresponding password. So we are setting if like for example, we have the username as admin and we have the password as 1234. Our idea is that when we press the login button, it should move to a page which will be displaying this is the second activity. And if this there is a mismatch in what I have told, like if the user name is admin and the password entered is 123 instead of 1234, then it should result in an incorrect entry text. So these are the logic that will be applied in this particular program, and more we'll see it in the next video. So I hope these concepts are clear. This is just a small element of the program that we have done, and this basically deals with setting up the visual content of an app or the design aspect of an app. So that will be it. We'll see the rest in the next video.